Hi, I'm Dixie.
Hi, I'm
And
Sherry.
yes, we're mother and daughter, and we're here together to introduce a brand new children's book that Cherry wrote. It's called Grezzy, the Girly Girl. There it is. Just came out. Cherry, could you tell us just a little bit about what inspired you to even write this book?
Well, I've always wanted to be a writer. I used to tell people that all the time in my old jobs. They'd say, if you weren't doing this job, what would be your dream job? And I would always say I want to be a writer, but I always thought there's no way because I didn't have anything that I wanted to write about. Working for Fascinating Womanhood, we are constantly asked this question of what are some books that I can read to my daughters? Because Fascinating Womanhood is a little too advanced for a young girl or even maybe even perhaps a teenager. Instead of writing a book of how-tos for young girls, I thought it would be fun to write a children's book that tells the stories of girls that are really loving their femininity, love being girly, and a book that celebrates that.
By the way, we should mention that it was illustrated by my granddaughter and Cherry's niece, Lily.
The illustrations are so magical. Lily did such an amazing job. I feel so lucky to have had someone like Lily doing this art because it was it was very particular. I'm very particular about how I wanted the story to come to life, and she just did such an amazing job interpreting all of my directions. I think we worked on the Grezzy character herself for several months, just nailing down what we wanted her to look like.
And you have a little girl who is the inspiration for Grezzy. Grezzy's hair is beautiful and curly, and so is your daughter's. It's just that Grezzy's is a little exaggerated. But yeah, every story that you're writing are true stories that happen to her or involving her.
Yes, I almost kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit because most of the stories that I'm going to be writing about, because this is going to be more than just one story, hopefully, because I have so many stories I want to write about Grezzy. Most of the things that I'm writing are just things that she's said or interactions she's had with my son that I think, you know what, this would make an adorable story. I specifically was inspired to write this first story because my daughter chose to wear a princess dress to a soccer event a couple years ago. Totally normal for her. You know her. You know she's basically wearing crowns and princess dresses practically every.
The soccer event wasn't her playing, right? It was her brother, right?
Yeah, my son, well, they both played soccer. They both play soccer, but this particular day he was playing and she was not. So she chose to wear a dress. And it was a rather fancy dress, and I didn't think anything of it.
She always does that.
Yeah, she always wears things like that. And I just, for the most part, I let her wear whatever she wants within reason if it's appropriate for the weather. And when we got to the soccer event, it was an indoor event. When we got there, she ran into a little friend from school who was actually playing, getting ready to play a game. And I would describe this little girl as the most tomboy you can get, like really short hair, really sporty girl. They're just totally opposite girls. And there's nothing wrong with tomboys. It's just the fact that they're so different is where this gets interesting because they're friends. You know, her friend saw her and looked her up and down, just head to toe with judgment. You could just see like three and 4 year olds judging each other, and they don't mean to be judging each other. It's just in their nature. And she said, why are you wearing a princess dress to a soccer game? My daughter just kind of said, why not?
I look gorgeous.
And she didn't care. And I think it was really in that moment where I was stunned at how courageous that tiny little girl was in that moment. I thought, and it isn't even that big of a deal what she's wearing, but in that moment, when you have these moments in your life and you flash back to a time that it's happened to you. And I flashed back to being her age on the playground at school and people teasing me for maybe wearing like a little bit of makeup or maybe like having sparkly nails. And I remember being ashamed because I was teased for that. And I think a lot of girls go through that. We don't really realize that it starts to cause us into our adulthood to maybe subconsciously a little bit be ashamed of our femininity and the things that we love, that are truly bring us joy. And I realized, she did that, and then they went off and they started playing and everything was fine. If that had been me, I don't know that I would have had that courage. I probably would have, kind of withdrawn myself a little bit. And I was really impressed with that. And I thought, all girls could really learn this lesson of just be yourself and don't be ashamed of it, especially when it comes to femininity. There's a really great message in there about not being ashamed of the things that you love and that are you.
As we get older, sometimes other women act like if they're wearing a dress, they're fancy. And same as with a little girl, that it's not just normal to wear a dress. Well, actually, I think dresses are more comfortable most of the time.
Well, and you'll find in the Grezi story that it isn't just about the dress. It isn't only the story opens with her talking about girls are making fun of her for wearing a dress in PE.
Mhm.
And it ends up being that it isn't just about her dress, because she can do anything in a dress.
Mhm.
It's not that she's against sports. She's actually really good at sports, but she's misjudged. And I think that's the deeper message there, is that because you are maybe a little more feminine than someone else, that you're weaker. So it goes deeper than just wearing what she's wearing. And little girls won't necessarily see that, but I think that's why I wanted this book to be for all ages. It's not just for little girls. A little girl will love it because the illustrations are so wonderful, and they work for, I would say, maybe 3 years old would be maybe the youngest that would enjoy this. But then all the way into an adulthood, because there's little messages for adults in there too. Grezi is hopefully going to be a series of books for any of the Fascinating Womanhood fans, or really any families out there that just want to celebrate girly girls. There's a lot of girly girls out there. There's tomboy girls too, and probably some in between, but I don't think there's enough celebrating for the girly girls and what it really, really means to be a girly girl. And that's kind of what the story's about, is Grezi's trying to understand why she's teased. Like we mentioned earlier, she's teased for wearing a dress, and she's teased for talking a lot because she talks a lot. Like, why does she talk a lot? And she's teased for putting so much effort into her appearance. She's teased for the way she treats people and how sweet and sensitive she is.
Look at the way she plays with her brother. She's
and so the story is just it's a day in her life on a quest to find out why everybody calls her a girly girl and what that means. And it teaches little girls what it really means.
Yeah. We're real proud of it, real proud of you and Lily for this great job that you've done. So
thank you. Grezi is available on Amazon right now. That's the only place it's being sold now. But we also have Grezi the Girly Girl on Instagram, and you can follow that account. That's me running that account, and I post all kinds of things about being girly. I post fun little videos of my daughter, and a little bit of my son is in there a little bit.
He's represented in the book as George, her brother.
Yeah, he's represented as well. My whole family is really represented. It's just that we're a little changed. We're changed up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this book to come out. We're just letting everybody know where to buy it and how helpful it is, and how it's kind of, to me, it's about time a book like this was written.
And if you do end up grabbing a copy of Grezi, please leave us a review, because that will help us to get more exposure and reach more people so that everyone can read Grezi. All right. Well, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.